the questions we get a lot is, what business does a Lutheran high school from Milwaukee, Wisconsin have with this instrument? This instrument comes to us from Trinidad in the Caribbean islands, just off the coast of Venezuela, actually. It was really developed in the 30s and 40s, and the first time they used a 55-gallon barrel to make an instrument was 1946. So relatively young instrument, but when the music comes to us from Trinidad, you have to talk about calypso. Calypso music is the traditional music from Trinidad, and this next piece is a calypso by one of calypsonians named Lord Kitchener. It's called Pan in A minor. One, two, three, Thank you. So our tour this year is called the Gratitude Tour. And in our student-led devotions throughout the week, we've talked about all the things that we're thankful for. And when you start a list of things to be thankful for, it's hard to end that list. And that's what we've realized this whole trip. This next piece is written in that vein, written by Liam Teague. This is his thank you note to his family, the pearls of his family, as you will. It's written for his mom, his dad, and his sister, Pearl, Russell, and Angela. And those are his family members that encouraged him as a musician, and especially as a pan player. We hope you enjoy Pearls. Thank you. Wisco's home to Viking steel. Wisco's Wisconsin Lutheran High School in Milwaukee. And we have over 100 people involved in the steel band program every given week. It's grown from 9 in 2017. Some really remarkable things. And one of the reasons it's grown so much is we run a summer camp for beginners in the 6th through 8th grade range. The next piece we're going to play started as a piece written for that camp. We were struggling. Mightily is the right word, with the music that we were trying to play. And so midweek, I pivoted and I wrote this out for them, and I taught it to them without any music. I just said, here's the notes, remember how it goes. And they did it. And it turned out so well that I decided to fully write out the whole thing, and that's what we have here for this band. It's called How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. Thank you. One of the most important things that we do as a band is showcase the versatility of this instrument. And I hope the whole concert shows to you that this instrument feels at home in nearly any style. So far, we've had Christian contemporary to begin with. We've had some bossa nova, samba type stuff with pearls. We've had some blues now. And now we're going to take a hard left turn into punk rock. All right. So I graduated high school in the 2000-somethings, where punk rock is not just a phase. It's more of like lifestyle now. And I'm able to share that with these students and show them what my music was like. And come to find out, it's still great music. This is Check Yes Juliet. Thank you. If we just made a hard left turn into punk rock, this is going to be an even more drastic turn. So this band is a mix of members of all three of our different high school steel bands. Those high school steel bands will travel to our conference congregations. So in the greater Milwaukee area that Wisco is based in, there are about 48 different churches that own and operate Wisco. And we have the privilege to go out to those congregations and replace the organist for a Sunday. I find it's supremely enjoyable. The only issue we run into is there's no hymns written for steel bands. So every hymn that we play as a band is something I've written for the band, including this next one that was written for our stop in Cincinnati on Sunday. It's called "My Worth Is Not in What I Own." Thank you. If you can tell, our bass players have a little bit of fun with that. They impersonate octopi back there as they're flopping around on all 6 of those instruments. So the instruments that you see before you today are all totally acoustic. Oftentimes we get the question of like, where's your piano? Where's your guitars? The answer is it's all the resonant steel. These are all fully acoustic instruments, and the different ranges that you hear, or voicings that you hear, start here at the top. These are the lead pans. They carry the main melody. They got 27 notes in each pan, starting at middle C if you're a piano player, and going up. Right below that, these are the double tenors. They're just a little bit lower than the lead pan. What I play is a lot of melody. I play a lot of harmony, and then some strums here and there. Over in that corner, we've got the double seconds. They play a lot of second melody or harmony, as well as some strum patterns. You'll see a lot of strumming coming from them. Speaking of strumming, we all know that you strum a guitar, so that's why these instruments over here are called the guitar pans. A lot of what they do is that strumming pattern. You'll see the chords blocked in these guitars. Behind the guitars is the 4-pan. Those 4 instruments together make the cello. It's called a cello because it plays essentially the same range as a cello, like in an orchestra. The role of that pan is kind of to bridge the gap between the guitars and the basses. So they kind of do some of both. And then, of course, on stage are the basses. Each player is responsible for 6 barrels, 3 notes per barrel. So you can imagine how big those notes must be and how small the notes must be to fit 27 in one. After the concert, of course, I'll invite you to come up and take a look at these a little bit closer. But next is another hymn. This one, again, is written for this coming Sunday. It's called For the Beauty of the Earth. Thank you. Some of those pieces that we play, like the hymns, are selected by pastors of churches we're going to visit, and then I gotta make it work. And some arrangements are just plopped in your lap. That's the story on this next one. I was leaving rehearsal one night, and in the parking lot was a pickup truck with students on top. Don't worry, it wasn't moving. And they were singing this next song at the top of their lungs. And when they're that invested in something, you can better believe that I'm going to make it possible for them to play it on pan. And that's how this one happened. I heard them singing it. That sounds like a whole lot of fun. So that's how we came across Brand New by Ben Rector. sometimes the arrangements ask for themselves, and sometimes the students ask for the piece again and again and again. If I programmed this next piece every concert for the rest of my career, I think the bands would still love playing it. It's the gift that keeps on giving. This is Conscious Chutney by Ross Shorty, arranged by Liam Teague. You make sense, doesn't it? Has a little bit of energy. So fun. That's Tom Moldenhauer on the drums. As part of our gratitude tour, we spent a night at Camp South just a couple days ago. I had never heard of Camp South as a northerner, and it was amazing. It was such a treat to be able to share these instruments with the students there. But the reason I bring that up, in addition to that, was our drummer, Tom Moldenhauer, had a twin. The drummer for the band at Camp South was named Tom Moldenhauer. And it just so happens that Tom Moldenhauer's uncle, Tom Moldenhauer, also plays drums. So we had two Tom Moldenhauers on one drum set in an evening, and that was so great to be able to share our drummers with Camp South. That was so fun. And we even got Uncle Tom Moldenhauer onto the bass pans when we played for the campfire. That was a whole lot of fun. Next up, we go back to some pop music from this era. This is called Make It Mine by Jason Mraz. Thank you. Now we're going back to the islands for a twofer from the same composer. These two are by Len Bugsy Sharp, and he is a famous arranger, composer, soloist, band leader, you name it with Pan Boogsy's done it. These next two are quite different, though. The first one is Breakdown. That's going to feel like a traditional calypso tune with a verse variation. You kind of hear us do some crazy things with the main melody. And the second tune is going to be Sunday Morning Funk, which is another one of those that I could probably play a lot more often and they would really enjoy it. And that one is going to feature Mr. Abe Body on the double seconds over there. Two very, very different styles from the same composer. This is Breakdown and Sunday Morning Funk. That's a little bit of fun. So when students come into Steel Band, it's expected that they don't know anything. Because it's very unlikely that you would have had pan lessons before coming into high school. So when you get into Steel Band at high school, the agreement is 7 a.m. rehearsals. So if you can imagine this type of energy twice a week at 7 a.m., that's what these students sign up for. So one group rehearses Monday, Thursday, 7 a.m., and the other group rehearses Tuesday, Friday at 7 a.m., and then there's a third band after school. So all of these students have developed all of these skills over the last 3 to 4 years, maybe a pan camp here or there. But 3 to 4 years, and we get to play this lovely style of music. It's such a privilege and joy to share this music with them and have them share it with you. Speaking of music that I love, it's time for some more punk rock. So we were playing at Camp South, and this next song we played, and we were by the campfire, and the youngest group was supposed to be by us. We did some sing-alongs, and it was lovely. They were all loud and excited to sing Lord, I Lift Your Name on High. We sang Blind Man, some great camp songs. But by the time we played this one, it was just the millennial counselors hanging around. And they knew the words to verse 1. They didn't remember the words to verses 2 and 3. So they just decided, we'll just sing the same words again and again. And really, it's the refrain that everybody knows. This is The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. at Doral, Florida, was a high school classmate of mine, and he wrote some of the music that we played as well, and he was struck by how easily these instruments connected with the rest of the band. It was almost effortless. We were both prepared, and we just happened to play at the same time, and it worked. It was a really incredible opportunity for these students to play with hundreds of people at that camp. This is one of the ones we played. It's by City Alight Music. It's called Ancient of Days. Thank you. That was Ocean Avenue by Yellow Card. Another one of those punk rock classics. I know that's like really typical, but I promise the students had input on this concert. It's not just the millennial me talking. I just really enjoy playing that music. The steel drum, coming from Trinidad, had a pretty checkered history and wasn't really included in church at the beginning of the instrument's history. That is until a Wells church got involved. St. John's on Antigua was one of the first churches to put steel pan into worship. And they still have steel pan almost every Sunday. Also, up at Hope Lutheran Church in Toronto, they have a steel band there every Sunday, and then wherever Viking steel is. But that's not all. There's also steel pan in Grenada. There's a couple steel pans down at Pooler, Risen Savior in Pooler, Georgia. There's a couple pans there. So it's fascinating to see how this church body has embraced this instrument and made it ours. It sounds like an odd thing. But today we get to celebrate all of that togetherness from these students from Milwaukee coming down and feeling so welcomed here in Rock Hill. Our next piece, I'm going to preface this with, I introduced this a little bit differently down in Pooler. It's called Savannah Grass. And I told them, yes, it's your Savannah. It wasn't their Savannah. It's another Savannah, the Queen's Park Savannah in Trinidad. That's where everybody comes together to celebrate this instrument. It's where they come to celebrate all of their cultural celebrations. It's the meeting point. This is our meeting point tonight. This is our gift to you, Savannah Grass.